Hi,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. Good morning, good evening.
Thank you so much for joining me. I have to say, I've just said it, I might have jinxed it, but your Wi-Fi is amazing. Everyone I have internationally, they have troubles with the Wi-Fi, but the clarity I'm getting from you today is amazing.
That's
It's meant to
awesome.
be. It's
Thanks.
meant to be. Well, thank you for
That's great.
joining me today. I'll do a quick intro and then we can dive deep into the music shortly. So my name is Axel Hart. I'm a singer-songwriter from the UK, from London. I only began my own music journey last year, releasing music for the first time, finding ways to express myself in a creative way that I had never done before. So I'm super excited to start this series again. Last year it was about learning about the industry, and now it's trying to understand what longevity means. And that's a really hard thing to understand because everything moves at just so many different paces. So I am joined by the
Yeah,
lovely Ms Michl. You're looking radiant as ever. Thank you so much for
thank
joining
you.
me.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning, morning. Introduce yourself to people maybe in the UK who haven't heard of you before, just a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how long you've been doing music for.
Well, my name is Michael. My artist name is Ms. Michl, just so there's not any confusion. I'm originally from Oklahoma, rural Oklahoma. Grew up on a farm out in the middle of nowhere, and I moved to LA when, I was a young, impressionable artist, for big city dreams, and I've been here ever since. I started
Amazing.
singing, a lot like a lot of people. I started singing in the church with my family. At 5 was my first performance, and I was hooked. And I've been singing ever since. I started writing music in middle school, for boys, and
Wow,
it got better from there. It got better and
amazing.
more and purposeful from there. But yeah, been doing it a long time.
Yeah, yeah, no, I was reading your bio on Spotify, and you tell a bit about your story, about your moves, from Oklahoma to LA. Part of the description there was, it was a bit of a struggle. I mean, it doesn't, there's no clarity on what the struggles were. Was it in the industry or was it personal life that made you make the change, the move?
Well, back in Oklahoma, the music industry is it's a lot different. It's really geared towards kind of country music or bluegrass, and especially when I was a younger artist, that is not the direction I wanted to go in at all. Um, I was much more into like alternative rock and trying to fuse that with R&B. So I wanted to be in a city that I perceived to be a little bit more progressive and open to different ways of doing things,
Right,
especially being a black girl that wanted to sing, rock music. And so
right.
that was part of it, and then of course all of us kind of have the struggles of growing up and growing pains. So it was good to kind of leave all of that and then come to LA and be able to kind of really blossom and grow and spread my wings in a way that I didn't feel inhibited.
You mentioned something actually that's super interesting because I had a guest actually on the last episode, Isabel Bain. I think actually you should connect because you do have some synergies there. She's also a black female artist who felt a little bit like sometimes you're pigeonholed into this is the sound you should make, or this is the sound that would work for you, or commercially you wouldn't work in this kind of area. How have you been able to, maybe in LA, maybe because of the genre of music blend that you guys have, maybe it's been a little bit easier, but how have you overcome those challenges? And what's the biggest barriers that you had to face?
Oh, that's a great question. The biggest barriers were just the gatekeepers, the people that have been doing music and are stuck in the way that they've been doing it. And the things that worked in the past, they want to always work.
Right,
When I first came out here, I was writing a lot, and I got a production deal, and my manager wanted to sell my songs to a rock artist because rock wasn't ready for a black girl. And I didn't see it that way at all. And of course, I didn't want to sell my songs. to someone else that they were my stories. So as far as like sticking to your guns, I mean, some would say that it didn't serve me because, I just had my guns and I didn't have like, songs being placed. But as far as the music industry now, I think, with independent artists having so much more resources that, we look what's happened, like every genre has just, exploded. And, Little Nas X is having, the best country records. And, we've got Willow Smith that is like topping the emo and alternative charts. So, I mean, with people opening their mind and indie artists having the ability to just like push their stuff out there, and people want good music. And I think that there's not a lot of boxes to be had. People just want to hear what they want to hear and connect with what they want to connect with. Right. And the industry wants to put us in our boxes. So, our dollars speak.
Exactly. You know what's really fascinating? I feel like it's kind of got back to what music is about, right? Music connects people from all walks of life. You're meant to really relate and connect to a song, or makes you feel whatever type of way. And that's what music should be about. But perhaps, I wouldn't even say in the past, because I think it still happens now when you are from, I don't know how to politically say this correctly, but sometimes the structures in music industries are designed for certain artists to be more successful. I think now there is a surgence of artists from a Black and minority ethnic background that are really doing their thing and now becoming popular, quote unquote. I think they've always been popular. We've seen Motown, we've seen genres that have really, paved the way for music industry even today. But now the recognition, I think, is starting to happen. If you look back in the past, would there be any advice that you would give your younger self to say, like, everything is fine and stick to your guns?
I would tell my younger self to do more homework. And to any young women artists out there that are listening, definitely don't be afraid of the boys club. I really should have gotten behind the engineering panel sooner. I should have learned to produce way sooner. And just because the ability to speak to what you want your final sound to be, and to have, the control over your projects is paramount. So definitely learn as much as you can. So many times, like as young women, we go into music school and we are convinced that we are just supposed to be on stage, and we don't kind of learn the business and the science of the art. And I think that's really important. I wish I would have started that much sooner.
I think there's also a lot to learn now. I think even now there's social media, there's promoting and marketing. As an independent artist, I think there's a lot more to learn. So I guess the challenges have slightly changed across time. But let's get into the music. I've been doing some deep dive into the music, and honestly, I'm a little bit obsessed. I'm glad I've come across your music.
Thank you.
I want to talk about your single "Pretend." That's a really, for me personally, I think a really great way to kind of see what you can do in terms of like sonically and also vocally, and it's a very intelligent music, I would say. It's a good blend of what you do. What does that song mean to you, and how did that come about?
Pretend is my baby. It was like my first major release single. And so I'm very proud of that song. And basically, the story behind it is, kind of what all my songs are about, which is, love and all these things that we build up in our head that this new love will be. And, this particular song is like, well, is it going to be that, or is it all just pretend? Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's interesting. I'm glad you mentioned it, but I definitely see a theme between even the albums, the music. There is a very strong theme there, but I love it. I just want to quickly give a shout out to Johnny556, who's just commented, you are so beautiful and your voice is amazing. You give an angel type aura, which is a very nice comment to get.
Thank you, Johnny. That's very sweet.
And
I'm blushing.
And Jarrell Get Money says, simply, he loves to see you smile, which is such a nice thing to say. I think it's great to see people being happy and
Thank you,
celebrating that.
girl.
Okay, so love is a big theme in your life. Have you experienced a lot of heartbreak? Have you experienced a lot of different types of love? I think everyone does, but I love that is a common thread between all your albums. Why did you dive into that area of your life?
Well, it's interesting. Last night I was having a really wonderful conversation with some of my dearest friends, my sisters in arms, and we were just talking about the way that I articulate my feelings. And I've kind of always been that way. I've been very expressive. So I experienced more heartache than the average person? No. But in my artistic expression, I'm really comfortable with telling that story and expressing it. And in my heart of hearts, I hope that in me doing that, it will help someone that doesn't maybe have that superpower to connect and, process the things that we go through. I have been blessed with a wonderful family. I'm sorry to let everyone know, I have the best mother that has ever existed. I know everyone else's mothers are great, but mine is the best. So, I mean, I love her to death, and she was, just an amazing inspiration for me growing up. So I've got that family love. I'm really, really close to my sister and all my brothers. So I've got that strong foundation. And then I've been blessed to fall in love with some really amazing, amazing men. And, and I have like the best friends that anyone could ever ask for. But in all of that, I've also lost loved ones. I lost my sister, and, the love of my life, we were together 15 years and that didn't work out. And, I've lost some really great friends along the way. So in all of that, that's life, right? So you have the ups and the downs. And, I do one day want to make a record about all the ups, but right now what's flowing and what I feel is pouring out of me and is, the ability to process and live through hurt and heartache and see the hope and the beauty in it and to keep pushing.
I think sometimes also subconsciously we don't realize that's what we're writing about, because music can be quite therapeutic. Like, you're getting all your feelings out, you're getting things that, affect you in your life. Like you said, it's part of life. I remember actually looking back at my own music, and I was like, all my music was about stepping outside your comfort zone and transformation and evolving. And I was like, I didn't mean to do that. I need to find another topic. I need to figure it out. But it's life, right? It's your words, it's your experience. So I think that's super interesting. Just want to also give shout out to lowkey_beauty, who says you're an inspiration. What a lovely comment.
Thank you so much. Love you.
Speaking of love, I want to dive into your EP, Unrequited. Was this all about an unrequited love that you experienced, and how was the process of actually putting a collection of music together in a project? How was that different to a single, for example?
So Unrequited was like kind of a demo. That was the very first EP that we put together and then from that Anaxophilia was born. So I think it was only 3 songs, and those were kind of all about the same situation. They kind of happened really quickly. And yeah, it was an unrequited situation that, again, like there was a lot of happiness in the relationship, but it just wasn't on the same plane.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, right? It's just one side.
It does. Yeah, but there is the school of thought that rejection is God's protection and redirection, and that's 100% what that was about. I mean, that was, gosh, like 4 years ago now. And so drawing back the focus and looking at the big picture, everything happened for a reason, and I got some great music out of it.
Yeah, if anything, there's always great music out of any experience, so that's useful to know. You mentioned your debut album, Anaxophilia, which also, for people who don't know what that means, I'm not gonna lie, I had to Google that. It means the act of falling in love with the wrong person. So again, very similar thread as
right.
your EP. How was the
Yeah.
album process, and is there a particular track that you're like, that's my favorite? I know, which is hard because it's your
Mm.
baby, but is there one?
Yeah. You know, so Anaxophilia, that album, there's 13 tracks on that album, which is really ambitious. I may not ever do that again. That was a lot of hard work to get all of that together. But what was happening is with my former co-writer and bandmate, we were working a lot, and the music was just kind of flowing out of us. There were so many ideas, and um, talking earlier about the common thread that I noticed is like almost every song was about dreams and love and, lack thereof, or the hope thereof. So it just kind of all, was flowing at the same time. And, we looked up and a year had gone by, but we had, 13 songs, and we were playing out in LA at the time. This is pre-COVID. So we were doing a lot of shows, and it was just a really great time for our creativity. And so when we decided to go in the studio, we all, work full time. So it was hard and daunting, but it was one of the best times of my life, creatively, to be in the studio and to make these things that you have written, these works, like come to life in a whole other way, was really magical. And as far as my favorite one, it's funny because it's a song that a lot of people don't really pay attention to, but it's track number 7. It's called The Happening. And I wrote it at a bar waiting for my friend to get off work in one sitting. And I wrote it in like 15 minutes, and I think it's a really, really beautiful song. And it's one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that you can get some inspiration just at anywhere and any time, just like, let's write a song. So that's an amazing kind of anecdote for that song. Definitely will check that out. So when you are performing, I know you mentioned performance as well. That must have been quite hard during COVID. It's been, crappy for everyone. It's been so difficult to feel that synergy from any audience. How were you able to kind of deal with that? And do you have any shows lined up now? I'm not sure what the situation is in LA, but what's that situation like been for you?
Well, Anaxophilia, Pretend, the single off of Anaxophilia, came out February 6th, 2020. And then we were going to shoot the video March 23rd, and the city locked down March 16th. So that was like, but I mean, I'm sure you remember, it's like, oh, it's going to be 2 weeks. It's going to be 2 weeks. We'll just push it out 2 weeks. Oh my God. So my album, Anaxophilia, was supposed to drop in May. And because our mixing and mastering team got inundated with really big artists that had studios that were like just, everyone was pumping music out. So the album got pushed to June, and then we couldn't perform. And it's my first major release. And it was just like, why is this happening? How are we gonna? So we did some Zoom concerts and some IG live shows that were really fun, but there's nothing like getting the energy from the crowd and, you giving it back to them. So I have to say, I miss it so much. I cannot wait to get back on stage. LA is opening up, especially, I mean, the big venues have been open for the big name artists, and some of the smaller venues are opening now. So I'm in the studio finishing up this new album, and as soon as I'm done recording, I want to get back on stage. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone is in LA now watching, go and support. It's so important for, independent artists to get that support. Even for me, like interviewing people, I still find this slightly odd. Like, I'd love it if we could meet in person, hopefully one day, where we can actually have a conversation and really feel that, because I think human connection, we're missing it. I saw the cat in the background. It's all good.
She's her mother's daughter. She wants her TV time. She wants to be a star.
I have a cat. I have the opposite color cat. I have a pure all white cat. I mean, it won't pop up upstairs because he never comes up in the room when I'm doing a live. But yeah, no, cats are amazingly wonderful, but also great to interrupt a live interview.
Exactly. Always. Yeah.
Perfect. let's talk about the new single, New Heartache. What was this
Mhm.
about? I mean, I'm sure it was a heartache. But when did you get to writing about this and performing? It's always a heartache.
It's always a heartache with me, I know. Yeah, my friends get onto me because I write tearjerkers. Yeah, I'm write what you know, and I'm really good at it. So
Yeah, it's
that's where we're
good.
at.
It is good.
New Heartache. So I'm really proud of this song. This is another one that kind of just was inspired and you know came rushing out. Um, and it's one of those that I'm getting older and like wiser. So, walking into this situation, which I think in the press release I said, it was love at first sight. If that's a thing, then that's what this was. And
Okay.
it seemed like everything that had been manifested, was there in front of me. And it didn't really turn out that way. And
Okay.
so, with the disappointment kind of setting in so quickly, it was just like, oh, I know this feeling. I've met you before. And, again, like I was saying before, I know that there's the other side to this. So nice to see you again. I know you really well. So let's chat. Let's get through this so I can show you on your
Yeah.
way and get to the other side. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. Embracing that moment of what might feel like pain and hurt, but actually learning that this is just part of the process. So I love that story.
exactly.
Have you ever, I mean, okay, we've mentioned heartbreak a few times now, and
Yep.
it's a common thread. It's okay. You actually nail it every time. But do you think you've learned something different through each experience, or have you felt like things have reoccurred just because that's the way relationships work? Or yeah, what's your experience been?
I mean, I would be lying if I said it was either or. I mean, it is a mixed bag of the two. And, like I said before, I was in a relationship for 15 years. So definitely I learned a lot from that. And I grew up in that, relationship. So with every year, every month, every day, every moment, I do learn more, mainly about myself. And
Yeah.
so, you know, um, that's the only way to get through it is to learn something from it, right? But am I
Yeah.
making the same mistake over and over again? You'd have to ask my homegirls.
Possibly.
I'm,
No.
yeah, I'm a little afraid of what they might say. But you know, I, that thing that love is blind. It really is. So, but I have a great support system to kind of like slap me around and be like, no, don't do it again. Stop it.
You know what though? On that note, I do think love is such a. I used to hate songs about love. I know that sounds really bad, but I just found them like really cliche and really soppy, and I'm like, it doesn't have to be like that. But I think love is such a. People just have one idea of love, but love can be really quite complex, and there's so many parameters to being in a relationship with anyone, whether that's a partner or your family or your friends or work environments or people you meet virtually online. There's love for everyone, and it's such a big force. So I think you probably could do this for the rest of your career and still have material every time, because
Exactly.
it just would be
Exactly.
it. You've chosen the best
Yeah.
topic.
Right.
Well, I'm excited though, because you have hinted to a new project that's coming out. So from some of the stuff I read online, you have a new EP, possibly in May, maybe that might be coming out. Talk to us a bit more about that. What can we expect apart from love? We love it.
Hmm.
How
Hmm.
many songs are we getting? And do you have any visuals that you are planning now that things are opening up?
Yeah, I am still going to shoot a video for New Heartache because it's the
Amazing.
single per se. And with my team, I'm really toying around with a visual album where we actually do
Ooh,
visuals for each song and they all kind of tie together. So
love
stay
it.
tuned. I really would like to make that happen. That's always been a dream of mine. But yeah, the new EP is slotted for May. We're in the studio now recording it, and it's gonna be, like I said, not songs ever again. It's gonna be 5 or 6 songs, short, concise story. And it's a totally different sound. I'm working with a new producer, Damon Turner, who is amazingly talented and such an inspiration. And our two like minds together, and the music that we're making is the best I've ever done. And yeah, so it's,
Wow.
you know, if Anaxophilia was like indie rock, this is definitely like more alternative R&B. So
Okay, okay.
yeah,
So now I'm very, very excited about that because I love the new single. I think New Heartbreak is amazing. And again, I'm
thank you.
so glad that I found your music. I'm excited for the visual EP. I think that's going to be very interesting. I was actually going to mention that, you know, at the start we spoke about being maybe pigeonholed into a certain sound and in a certain kind of genre. Do you ever see yourself exploring even outside art? Because your voice is quite versatile. You are quite a talented musician in terms of your layering and your lyrics. Do you ever think, actually, why not country? Why not R&B? Why not pop, punk, rock? You know, do you ever think that you'll explore some of those other genres?
Yeah, Damon and I have already kind of talked about the next project because I have songs that I had written previous to us working together. And I think, you know, depending on where the material comes from, I mean, there's definitely a progressive rock, stadium rock type of album inside that's, you know, been trying to come out. So we'll see how that goes. But I think, you know, when it comes to like shows, my hero is Prince. So I feel like, you know, Anaxophilia, this next record, and then the ones that you know, come after, it'll all go together, you know, as me as an artist and, you know, my catalog. But I definitely want to keep pushing the envelope. I grew up, you know, singing in the church, like I said, but my grandfather, who was my first, you know, voice teacher, was Irish tenor. So very much I grew up singing, you know, opera and hymns and things
Oh,
like that.
wow.
So, you know, there's a lot of stuff that I kind of want to play around with. You know, everything from metal to arias. I think
That's
it's all,
incredible.
yeah, it's all out there, ready to be
Yeah,
done.
exactly, exactly. It's endless possibilities for you, so I'm so excited. I mean, mentioning just very quickly, you mentioned your grandfather also was into music. Did you have anybody else in your life that was into music, or were you the first in your kind of immediate family to really go for it as an artist?
Well, my mother and my aunts traveled kind of in the like tri-state area, traveled around singing in churches with my grandfather. So yeah, they kind of were on the Christian church circuit, and all of them grew up doing that. And so obviously they grew up and went to college and started their families. And so I was the only grandchild that sang with my grandfather, and that was like very much our bond. But yeah, I mean, I'm the only one that kind of pursued it as, you know, a dream and an ambition for sure.
That's
Yeah,
incredible. That's incredible. You know, you're breaking boundaries. You're doing things that haven't been done before. So honestly, I think it's so exciting to connect with you. I'm really, really looking forward to this EP. Do you have any other upcoming projects that you'd like to share with the audience, or any final messages, shout outs?
oh wow, shout outs. I don't know. I want to shout out you. Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun, and I'm gonna come to England soon. I really want to perform
Yay.
there, so I will be in touch for sure. Shout outs to Trap Heels and Damon Turner, and all of my loved ones, whether you're watching this now or later. Thank you for all your support, and for everyone that is waiting, the new EP, which is tentatively called Animus versus Anima. There'll be a definition on the cover. Um, I'm looking to release that on my birthday, May 6th. So stay tuned.
Ah,
Um, you can follow me on IG, and I'll have all the updates. Yeah,
amazing. I will put all the details in the description once this is uploaded on YouTube. But thank you so much. If you are coming into the UK, you need to let me know. I need to have
absolutely.
front row seats. I'd love to see you perform. It's been
Absolutely.
wonderful to connect with you, and thank you everyone who is tuning in. Please do go check out Ms Michel's all her discography. Honestly, like if you start from the EP all the way down to her latest material, you're going to be like amazed. Everything is so well done, and it's
Thank
beautiful
you.
pieces of work. So I'm so happy for you. Congrats on the new single, New Heartache. And yeah, let's reconnect once that EP is out. And yeah, I'm excited
Absolutely.
to see it. Thank you once again. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, I'll see everyone next time. Thank you.
You too. Mwah.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Bye.